Now we discuss about the administrative rule of Shatavahanas. The Shatavahanas organized a sound administration to control the vast empire. So they followed the Mauryan model but made new innovations to suit the local needs. The rulers were not cruel, but they followed the principles of Dharma Shastras. They were not cruel, but they followed the principles of Dharma Shastras to promote the well-being of all the sections of the society. They were not cruel. ఆ ధర్మశాస్త్రంలో రాసిన ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ని మాత్రం ఫాలో అయ్యారు to promote the well-being of all the sections of the society. The Shatavahana kings, they assumed high-sounding titles like Dakshanatipata, Pati, and Eka Brahmana, Eka Veera, Shura, and all. So they assumed high-sounding, and they were the first ones to, assume the titles of Raja, the Raja, Maharaja, because even the Mauryans, I think, they didn't take those names because high-sounding titles, and they even tried to trace their descent from the mythical and semi-mythical personalities. They tried to trace the descent, they tried to trace the descent from the mythological or mythical or semi-mythical personalities. The Shatavahanas, who were originally the tribals of the Deccan, they followed this tradition only in order to advance their social acceptability. They followed this only in order to advance their social acceptability. Okay, now we read from Sinayasa notes. Shatavahanas, they rose to prominence as the subordinate rulers of Mauryans in the Deccan. They rose to prominence as subordinate rulers to the Mauryans. Subordinate rulers of the Mauryans in the Deccan. Though they followed the principles of state policy, like the welfare state and the paternal kinship of the Mauryans. The Mauryans, the welfare state and the paternal kinship of the Mauryans. They did not follow the administrative system and the well expanded bureaucracy of the Mauryans. They followed welfare state and the paternal kinship of the Mauryans. They did not follow the centralized administration system and the well expanded bureaucracy of the Mauryans. The contemporaries knew very well that the Mauryan Empire collapsed partly because of the excessive centralization and expanded bureaucracy in the administration. Excessive centralization, expanded bureaucracy of the administration. In the administration, at the central level, the Shatavahana kings, they exercised unlimited powers like the Mauryans. At the central level, the Shatavahana kings, they exercised unlimited powers like the Mauryans. As such, the kingship under Shatavahanas may be defined as the benevolent despotism, which means benevolent despotism and kings exercising power in the interest of the welfare of the people. Benevolent despotism ante kings exercising the power in the interest of the welfare of the people. So that is called as benevolent despotism. Under the kingship under the Satavahanas may be defined, kingship under the Shatavahanas may be defined as the benevolent despotism. Okay, and at the central level, to assist the king, there was an advisory body called the Rajamukhya, who it was founded. Okay, at the central level, to assist the king, there was a central body called Rajamukhya, and implementing the orders of the king was the responsibility of the secretariat. Just like now, the king has got cabinet ministers, that is cabinet ministers to advisory body to the prime minister, or the president advisory body council of ministers, that is Rajamukhya antunar. Central level, to assist the king, there is an advisory body called Rajamukhya, and to implement the orders of the president we have the executive. Even now it is the same, that all the departments and all. So implementing the orders of the king, there was the responsibility of the secretariat, which were called as Akshapatala. Akshapatala was the secretariat. The secretariat was called as Akshapatala, and at the center, the important officers were the Hardrika, the chief tax collector. The important officers at the central level ఏమన్నారు, అమర్త్యాస్ అండ్ మహామత్తాస్ అని కూడా చెప్పేస్తా ఉంటారు. అమర్త్యాస్ అండ్ మహామత్తాస్. అండ్ the chief tax collector, the important officers at the central level are, the chief tax collector was called as Hardrika, and the custodian of the royal records was called as Nibandhakarna is the custodian of the royal records, and Mahabandhagarika is supervisor of the royal godowns, and Vigrahaka was the in charge of law and order. Then for administrative convenience, the empire was divided into aharas. And the governors of the provinces were this is same as mountains. The governors of the provinces were Aryaputras and Amatyas. This is the administrative convenience. Aharas were divided, that is district. That is governors of these provinces. These are not districts, sorry. Aharas are the provinces. Then the city administration was looked after by an autonomous body called as Nigama Sabha. The city administration was looked after by an autonomous body which is called as Nigama Sabha. Just one point again about the Aharas. The empire was divided into a number of provinces called the Aharas, and the in charges of the Aharas were the governors of the provinces were the Aryaputra and Amatyas. Amatyas were the both of them were the governors. These Amatyas were non-hereditary officers who were appointed for this post. Amatyas were non-hereditary officers, and their term was of 5 years, and they were liable to be transferred, just like now. They were 5 years the term and liable to be transferred. The Aharas or the provinces were named after the headquarters of the governor. The Aharas were named after the headquarters of the governors. Some of the well-known provinces of Satavahanas are Govardhana, that is Nasik, and Sopara and Mamla. Mamla was Pune. Nasik was Govardhana. Sopara and Mamla was Pune. There were some autonomous territories besides Aharas. These autonomous territories were governed by the hereditary chiefs known as Maharathas and Mahabhojas. There were some autonomous territories also besides Aharas. These autonomous territories, they were governed by hereditary chiefs known as Maharathi. ఇందాక ఒక మహారథ గురించి చదివాం కదా, మహారథి నాగనిక వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్ మహారథి so he like that. The hereditary chiefs known as Maharatha and Mahabhoja. During the last years of the Shatavahana rule, the outlying Aharas were placed in charge of Mahasenadipatis because they were frequently attacked by the foreign tribes. Usually Maharathas, Mahabhojas, Amatyas and Aryaputras were looking after, but in the last years of Shatavahana rule, this outlying Aharas were placed under in charge of the Mahasenapati because they were frequently attacked by the foreign tribes. Now for administrative convenience, the empire's demand, okay, adayipindi. The city administration, then provincial administration. Now city administration was looked after by an autonomous body called as Nigama Sabha. At the Shatavahana Empire, as the Shatavahana Empire carried on brisk trade with the foreign countries, many cities like Pratishthanapura, Sopara, Nasik, which is Govardhana, and Kalyana, Vaijayanti, Amaravati, Vijayapuri, and Srikakulam, they developed and they flourished in different parts of the empire. Okay, all these cities they flourished in different part of the empire as the trade and commerce had increased with the foreign countries. So the affairs of these cities were looked after by the corporate bodies. They are corporate bodies called as Nigama Sabha. The heads of these, the heads of certain important households, important families ఉంటారు కదా, the heads of their certain households called Gahapatis, and the representatives of the merchant guilds were the members of these sabhas. The heads of the important families are called as Gahapatis, and the representatives of the merchant guilds were the members of these Nigama Sabhas. The main source of state's income was from the land revenue. The royal share of the agricultural products, royal share was 1/6 of the agricultural the royal share was 1/6 of the total produce, and it was called as Baga and Deyameya. It was called as Baga and Deyameya. Besides this, the taxes called as Karukara. Besides this, some taxes called as Karukara were also collected from the artisans. Then village was the lowest unit of administration. Village or grama was the lowest unit of administration, and it at the village level, Gramika, at the village level, Gulmika was the head of the village. Gulmika or Gramani was the head of the village, who sometimes controlled a cluster of villages also, numbering 5 to 10. Gramani sometimes he controlled a cluster of villages, some 5 to 10, and the Gulmika was the head of the village. Gulmika and Harika was the village administrative officer. Village administrative officer was the Harika, and Aryaka dealt with local disputes. And Nibandhakarna, he preserved the revenue records. Nibandhakarna preserved revenue records, and in revenue administration, the land tax was the chief source of income. It was 1/6 of the gross produced, and another officer called Raju Gohaka, that is Raju Gahaka అని చెప్పారు all in one లో. Raju Gohaka was the surveyor and he was the settlement officer. So revenue system లో ఎవరెవరు ఉన్నారు? The land tax was the chief source of income. 1/6 of the gross produced was given, which is called as Baga, and Karukara also was collected from the artisans. Then who was the surveyor of the land and settlement officer? He was Raju Gahaka. Even the Mauryan king Ashoka revealed in his inscriptions that he appointed officers by the name of Raju Gahaka anta, the surveyor and the settlement officer. Even Ashokan officers were called as Rajuka, and the name of that particular officers continued till the Shatavahana period and after the Mauryan era also. As per the evidences of the excavations at Kondapur in Telangana state, there was a mint located in a mint ante where the coins were minted was present in the period of Shatavahanas. As per the evidences of excavations in Kondapur in Telangana state, mint was present. Okay, then comes to military administration. The regional bodies supervised the administration. The regional bodies all అక్కడక్కడ ఏ రీజన్లో ఉంటే ఆ రీజన్లో ఉన్న బాడీస్ supervise the regional military administration. Then Shatavahanas maintained a huge army. Then temporary military camp was called as Skandavara. Skandavara, and permanent or the stable military camp was called as Kataka. Permanent military camp was called as Kataka and Skandavara. Then military spies were also appointed to know the circumstances in the kingdom. Military spies also were appointed. and cavalry, infantry, and elephantry were the three important wings of the military administration. Cavalry, infantry, and elephantry were the three important wings of military administration. They were supervised by the regional bodies. According to Megasthenes, the Andhras had maintained an army of 1 lakh infantry, 2,000 cavalry, and 1,000 elephantry. Then comes to the judicial administration. Judicial administration, the law for the judicial administration అంటే జడ్జ్మెంట్స్ ఇవ్వడానికి ఏదైనా డిస్ప్యూట్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు లోకల్ కస్టమ్స్ అండ్ లోకల్ ట్రెడిషన్స్ వేర్ ఫాలోడ్. ద విలేజ్ అసెంబ్లీస్ డెల్ట్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనము పంచాయతీ క్రమం అంటాం కదా, పెదరాయిలో పంచాయతీలు పెడతా అంటారు. సో దట్ ఈస్ విలేజ్ అసెంబ్లీ. సో విలేజ్ అసెంబ్లీస్ డెల్ట్ మెయిన్లీ విత్ dispensing justice. So village assemblies, they dealt mainly with the dispensing justice. They dealt with dispensing the justice. So we have no concrete evidence of the nature of the administration in the form of inscriptions and literary sources. Okay, no concrete evidence of nature of administration, okay, in the form of inscriptions and literary sources we don't have. However, on the basis of the available sources, we can conclude that it was a decentralized polity. It was the decentralized polity that was the major drawback of the system. Okay, it was the major drawback of the system, decentralized polity. So it was for this the Shatavahanas could not stop. It was for this the Shatavahanas, they could not stop the rise and growth of the powerful subordinate ruler Sri Santamula. They could not stop the rise and growth of powerful subordinate ruler Sri Santamula, who founded the Ikshvaku dynasty. Sri Santamula. Some points about administration from all in one. The king and the council. At the apex of the administration was the king, who was called by his title, that is Raja or Maharaja or Rajati Raja. Apex of the administration was the king. The Shatavahana king did not assume high sounding titles. They did assume high sounding titles like Samrat. ఓకే, సామ్రాట్ అనే టైటిల్స్ తీసుకోలేదా? లేదా శాతకర్ణి తీసుకున్నట్టున్నాడే. Okay, this we can't say. Okay, the crown prince was known as Yuvaraja, and the succession to the throne was by the law of primogeniture. That is, the firstborn son would succeed to the throne. Primogeniture. So even though the latter kings associated their names with their mothers like Gautami Putra and Vashishti Putra, okay, a number of ministers of different grades and statuses assisted the king. Number of ministers with different grades and statuses assisted the king. Amongst the ministers, then Vishwa Amatya, that is prime minister, held the prominent position and was consulted by the king on all important matters. Prime minister name antaru Vishwa Amatya antaru, and the advisory ministers body name antaru Rajamukhya antaru, Vishwa Amatya. And then Raja Amatyas, the Raja Mukhya, the Raja Amatya ranked below him, and he constituted the ministerial council. Raja Amatyas వచ్చి ministerial council అంటే, and the administration was run by officials noted for their efficiency, their hard work and their loyalty. The higher officials were called as Mahasenapati, Mahamatra, that is head of the department. Mahamatra, who is head of the department. Mahataraka is the chamberlain, and Bhandagarika was the head of the godowns, and Heranika was the treasurer. ఇక్కడ అదే మనం చదివింది హెరానికా, అది was the chief tax collector or the treasurer. Heranika was the treasurer. Okay, other officials included the Ganapaka accountant, Pratihara and Duta. Pratiharas and Dutas ante, Pratiharas and Dutas were the messengers. Lekaka was the clerk, who Lekha means writer kada, writing letters. Clerk or writer was called as Lekaka. Then Nibandhanakara was the registrar of the documents, and Patlika Palaka was the director of the archives. So the second question is about the political importance of the Shatavahanas. The Shatavahanas ruled the Deccan. Political importance. The Shatavahanas ruled the Deccan for about between the 2nd century BC to 2nd century AD over a period of 400 years with 33 kings. So they rose to prominence. They rose to prominence as feudatories of Mauryans. They rose to prominence as feudatories to Mauryans, with the capital cities as Pratishtanapura, that is Paitan, and Amaravati. The major political achievement of the Shatavahanas was they were the only dynasty that ruled for 4 centuries uninterrupted in the entire Indian history. In the entire Indian history, it was the only dynasty that was ruled for 4 centuries uninterrupted. The credit goes to the Shatavahanas for unifying the various ethnic groups. So this is a credit which is shown in the Gautamiputra Shatakarni movie also. The credit goes to the Shatavahanas for unifying the various ethnic groups, the tribes and the races that inhabited in the Deccan. So more so in the case of Andhra Desha. సో ఎక్కువ అన్ని చోట్ల చేశారు, బట్ మోర్ దే యునైటెడ్ ఆల్ ద ఎథ్నిక్ గ్రూప్స్, ట్రైబ్స్ అండ్ రేసెస్ ఇన్ ద ఆంధ్రదేశ. సో thus it was the first political dynasty. It was the first political dynasty to unify the Andhra region. First political dynasty to unify the Andhra region. So the credit goes to Shatavahanas for protecting the territorial integrity of the Andhra Desha from the external aggressions. Protecting the territorial integrity of Andhra Desha from the external aggressions. By the time the dynasty was founded, the Shakas in Gujarat and Saurashtra, and Shungas in Madhya Pradesh, and Chedis in Kalinga. Shakas, Shungas and Chedis were posing a major threat. Then Shatavahanas succeeded in guarding their frontiers and protecting their territorial integrity. Then apart from protecting Andhra, they left apart from protecting Andhra, top anta protect chesaru, unite chesaru. Apart from protecting Andhra, they left behind them brilliant victories against their arch enemies. They left brilliant victories against their arch enemies. The founder of the dynasty, Srimukha, he launched a counter offensive against the Maharadi Tranakayo of Saurashtra, and he defeated him, and he brought his daughter Naganika and married to his son Shatakarni I. The person was Maharadi Tranakayiro. Okay, who was it? Shrimukha and Maharadi Tranakariyo, okay, of Saurashtra. So on his part, Shatakarni I, what he did, on his part, Shatakarni I emerged as the first great king of the dynasty, and he performed Ashwamedha to mark his victory against the mighty Pushyamitra Shunga. He used the emblem of the Ujjaini city inscribed on his coins. So second conflict was between Shatakarni I and Pushyamitra Shunga, and he used the emblem of the Ujjaini city and he inscribed on his coins. Then the next one is the greatness of Shatakarni I was narrated by his wife Naganika in the Naneghat inscription, where she referred to the titles of Shatakarni I as Ekavira and Dakshinapatha Pati. So the most brilliant victory was also scored by Shatakarni II, who went up to Patliputra and he killed Susharma. The last of the Kanva dynasty. So no South Indian king had the distinction of going that far north. As the token of his victory, he inscribed the royal emblem of Patliputra on his coins. So Shatakarni II and Susharma of Kanva dynasty. Then the greatest of the Shatavahanas, the Gautamiputra Shatakarni, he immortalized himself with the beautiful and brilliant victories against his arch enemies Shakas. He killed Nahapana of the Shakas, and he took the title Kshaharata Vamsa Nirvaseshakara. He killed Nahapana of the Shakas and he took the title Kshaharata Vamsa Nirvaseshakara. His greatness was in detail described by his mother Gautami Balashri in the Nasik inscription. So marking the year of his ascendancy to the throne. Ascending the throne, marking the year of his ascendancy to the throne, he started the Shalivahana era. Shalivahana Shekam had started in 78 AD, along with when Kushana's Kanishka had started Shaka era in 75 AD. Then historically a reckoning point. It is a historically reckoning point for the Andhras. In spite of their brilliant victories and protecting the Andhra region, the Shatavahanas could not surmount the problem of external threat. They cannot surmount the problem of the external threat. From the times of Yagneshri Shatakarni, the kingship lost control over the administration. The decentralized administration, it gave scope for the emergence of powerful Samantas. This decentralized administration, it gave scope for the emergence of the powerful Samantas. And the last of the dynasty, that is Pulamavi III. Pulamavi III was the last of the dynasty. He failed to maintain the identity. And he gave scope for Sri Santamoola. He gave a scope for Sri Santamoola to assess the power, who was the founder of the Ikshvaku dynasty. So first one was Srimukha with Maharadi Tranakaryo, and the second one is Shatakarni 1 with Pushyamitra Shunga, Shatakarni 2 with Susharma, Gautami Putra Shatakarni with Nahapala.